Hello YouTube, this is Sam from Tigers Schooling. In this session of the video, we're actually going to talk about Klebsiella. So this is your Klebsiella. So when you hear the word Klebsiella, remember Klebsiella is actually a genus of your kingdom bacteria. So this is your kingdom bacteria, which the genus of that is your Klebsiella. So we'll be talking about the Klebsiella in a good amount of detail. We'll be talking about the bacterial cells. We'll be talking about the pneumonia, which is related to the Klebsiella and Oxytica. So remember, the Klebsiella falls into the genus. It's a genus, so it falls into the family of Enterobacteriaceae, which means that these Klebsiella or the Enterobacteriaceae are those bacteria which are found in your GIT, mostly in your mouth and nose and intestine. So the family, the Klebsiella ends up into your family, that is Enterobacteriaceae. The word entero means your intestine, the bacteria means your bacteria, and CI means your family or group, whatever you call it. So that family falls into your order, that is the Enterobacteriaceae, and finally it ends into the class that is Gamma Proteobacteria, and finally it ends up into the phylum Proteobacteria. So that's it. We'll be talking about the genus, which is Klebsiella today, and it is named after a scientist, which the Klebsiella is named after a German Swiss microbiologist. Some people call it bacteriologist, which was Sir Edwin Klebs. I'm not writing the name of the Sir Edwin Klebs, so you have to understand that. So we'll be starting our lecture. Before starting our lecture, we must know the species. So Klebsiella has different types of species. That is the Klebsiella aerogenes, the Klebsiella granulomatous, Klebsiella oxytoca, and remember these two genes, the Klebsiella oxytoca, this one, and your Klebsiella pneumonia. These are very much important in respect to understand a few clinicals of Klebsiella. We'll be talking about them in just a bit. So the remaining species are Klebsiella gramineae, Klebsiella vericola. So let's get started and talk about the Klebsiella. We'll be talking about the Klebsiella cells, which means we'll be talking about in general, which means it applies to all these species. So remember that the Klebsiella, will be starting the lecture from here. The Klebsiella is actually a genus of non-motile. Remember, these are the genus of non-motile, M-O-I-T-L. These are in the genus of non-motile, your gram-negative. They are non-motile, which means they have no flagella. You can see in this picture, they have got non-motile, and they have the gram-negative. They are gram-negative, and they are oxidase negative. So if you don't know what is oxidase negative, let me tell you first. Let me write it down. Oxidase. I'm sorry about the writing in here, but it's how this writing goes on. So Klebsiella is oxidase negative. So what is oxidase negative? Before explaining the oxidase negative, let me explain the oxidase test. Let me write it down here. The oxidase, you will understand, test. So we'll talk about the oxidase test. So first, talking about the oxidase test, remember that the oxidase test is actually used to identify bacteria that produce your cytochrome C oxidase. Remember, this test is used to identify the bacteria that produce cytochrome C oxidase, which is an enzyme of bacterial electron transport chain. So means all those bacteria that are oxidase positive remember this one. All bacteria that are oxidase positive are aerobic and can use oxygen as a terminal electron acceptor, Get it? In your respiration, which means so this Klebsiella is oxidase negative, which means it does not produce an enzyme which is called cytochrome C oxidase. If it would have been oxidase positive, it would have produced this enzyme cytochrome C oxidase, but it is not, so that's why it does not produce this cytochrome C oxidase, so which means there is no terminal electron acceptor in this process. The second idea regarding it, we have to know that it is rod shaped. You can see in that diagram it is also rod shaped. Your bacteria is rod shaped, and with a polysaccharide capsule. So we're talking about the polysaccharide capsule. Remember, it has two types of capsule. It has if you're talking about the capsule, remember it has two types of capsule. If I'm writing it down, one is your it has the polysaccharide, but it also has some antigens. I'm sorry, there were two types of antigens. We'll be talking about the antigen. There were two types of antigen. One was made up of polysaccharide antigen, and the other one was lipopolysaccharide, made up of lipopolysaccharide antigen. So its cover is polysaccharide. We'll be talking about the antigen in just a bit. I'll take our lecture further on. I'll be mingling up things, so you have to write down the lecture and understand in the end, and make your study as you want it. So remember that the Klebsiella species are actually found everywhere in nature. Even it is found in human body, like in your mouth, your nose, your intestine. You know, they can be found in water, in soil, and insect and other animals. You know, including human. So your different members of your genus Klebsiella are actually part of human and animals' normal flora in nose, mouth, and intestine. And their cells, if you're talking about the cells of this Klebsiella, remember, if you're talking about the cells, remember this one. Let me change the color first. So these cells are actually rod shaped, and they measure about 0.3 to 1.5 micrometer, right? Remember this one. They measure regarding in width, and when talking about the length, they measure between 0.5 to 5 micrometer. 5. Remember, don't forget the sign for a micrometer in length. So this is your length, this is your width regarding the Klebsiella. So they can be found singly. You can find them in a single, or you can find them in pairs, or in chains, or maybe linked end to end. And remember one thing more regarding the Klebsiella, that they are actually, the Klebsiella can grow on ordinary lab, and you know, they do not need any special growth requirements. You just put the Klebsiella in ordinary lab requirements, and you can grow the Klebsiella in a laboratory. And these species of the Klebsiella are actually aerobic and facultatively anaerobic. I don't think so I need to explain that, so you might understand it. So they are aerobic and facultative aerobic as well, right? And they're ideal, if we're talking about the growth, so the ideal growth temperature is between the 35 and 37 Celsius, and the pH that is ideal for them for their growth is your 7.2 pH. All right, so this is the 7.2 pH for their growth is required. And when we're talking about the members of Klebsiella, remember that typically express two types of antigen. First, I told you about the antigens. So remember that two types of antigens are found on the cell surface of the Klebsiella cells. The first antigen, which is called the O antigen. We call the O antigen. So this O antigen is actually a lipopolysaccharide. This is your lipopolysaccharide, your O antigen, and the other antigen that is found on the surface is your K antigen. Your K antigen, which is actually found, your K antigen. Your K antigen is found on the cell surface, but this is your polysaccharide, right? This is your polysaccharide, and your O antigen was your what do you call the lipopolysaccharide, and this is your polysaccharide. The cell surface is made up of polysaccharide itself, and remember that both contribute to the pathogenicity of your bacteria. Now I'll take our lecture further on, and let me refresh the page and make it clear and make another lecture. So we'll talk about the Klebsiella in humans. Right. When talking about the Klebsiella in humans, the first factor or the first thing that you understand or you think about should be pneumonia, right? Remember this one. Whenever you hear the word Klebsiella, you must remember the Klebsiella pneumonia, which is a species of Klebsiella itself. So first we'll talk about the Klebsiella in humans. Remember that Klebsiella species are routinely found in human nose. We have talked about this, and gastrointestinal tract as normal flora. So they are both as normal flora and opportunistic pathogens. Like in normal cases, it is found in your body. Like you have Klebsiella in your body, but they do not cause any disease or any problem. But when your body immune system is weak, remember, they can cause many problems, a wide range of problems when your body immune system is weak. For example, your body immune system, this is your body immune system, this is your body immune gets low. For example, we put it low, we put it the red one, so it make it kind of like in danger. Like your body's immune system is low, let me mark it down like this one. So when your body immune system is low, for example, maybe due to your cancer, or maybe due to any diseases that is causing your problem. So probably these normal bacteria that are in your body, they are going to cause a problem. Like they are going to overtake your body and going to fight. And the majority of human Klebsiella infections are actually caused by pneumonia. Remember this one. So your body is maybe due to cancer and you have the Klebsiella pneumonia in your body, and it's going to attack and maybe causing the pneumonia. The first species of the Klebsiella that is mostly affecting human is your Klebsiella pneumonia. Remember this one. The most affecting Klebsiella species is your Klebsiella pneumonia. The second one after Klebsiella pneumonia is your Klebsiella oxytoca. Or we write it down like this one, oxytoca. Right, like this one. So infections are more common in very young people and very old people, and with those people which have underlying diseases such as they have got cancer, they have got a low immunity, whatever that is causing your immune to go down, you are going to get infected by these Klebsiella bacteria, especially the Klebsiella pneumonia. So your Klebsiella pneumonia can also cause other infections. For example, it might get you pneumonia, might get you urinary tract infections. If we talked about, if I talk about the other diseases of Klebsiella that are related to it, will be, let me write them down here. So it can cause you pneumonia, which I have already mentioned. Pneumonia, the first one would be pneumonia. The second one, or the second leading cause is urinary tract infections, UTI. The third one is your septicemia. The third one that is really important, that is the septicemia. And the fourth one, that is your meningitis. Meningitis. Number 5 is your diarrhea. It is also caused by this Klebsiella. And these soft tissue infections that are related to it. Now we'll talk about the really important Klebsiella, that is the Klebsiella pneumonia. We're not going to cover up the other Klebsiellas because we are being specific regarding the bacteria, because if we go and talk about specifically about Klebsiella pneumonia, we'll have to talk about that one easily, but we are talking generally, so I'll give you a general idea regarding the Klebsiella pneumonia. So this one. So if we talk about, let me remove this one and talk about the Klebsiella pneumonia, right? This one, right? Wait. And here we go. Remove all these things and we're going to clear it down. So Klebsiella pneumonia. Remember this one normally, let me bring this one. Remember that normally the Klebsiella pneumonia is normally found in human, and it can only cause destructive changes to human and animal lungs if aspirated, especially to the alveoli, resulting in your bloody septum. If your pneumonia, Klebsiella pneumonia, is aspirated to other parts, it can cause your bloody septum in your affecting your alveoli, your lungs. And infections are mostly seen in people with weak immune system, because this is going to only attack in weak people. So one thing you have to remember, that Klebsiella pneumonia is not only found in humans, but it's also found in the soil. So it is found in soil about 30%. So what does it does in the soil? So it actually, the Klebsiella pneumonia, when there is oxygen and they are going through aerobic respiration, so they'll be contributing to the nitrogen fixation in the soil. So they contribute about the nitrogen fixation in the soil, and found about regarding 30%. And the Klebsiella pneumonia causes pneumonia, that is the main, and pneumonia, and also causes the infection of urinary tract, your biliary tract, your lower biliary tract, and even the surgical wound. It can cause a lot of problems. So this is regarding the introduction regarding the Klebsiella, and just an overview of Klebsiella pneumonia, and that's it. And we won't be talking that much about Klebsiella. If anything is remaining in this lecture, we'll make another video, and we'll make a part 2 video of the Klebsiella. Please make sure to leave a comment, and we'll be discussing on further the Klebsiella. And make sure to share this channel with your friends and everybody you get through, and keep visiting Tags Schooling.